Assalamualaikum, my name is Tahsin Abbas and my university ID is F2016 119055. So first of all, I will tell you the reason behind choosing this course. So the title of the course made me enroll into this subject, though it was automatically offered by my university. But I was so excited to study this subject because of its interesting title, as I am so much into stories. And I prayed that I get a nice instructor of this subject because it is always dependent on a teacher to make subject exciting or boring according to me. Though I was glad to see my Rabaha then. So Myths are old or traditional stories which we hear from our grandparents, parents. These are the stories in which amendments are possible and we can change them up to us. Myths usually include any heroic character as a hero or protagonist of the story, any princess or random girl in the story, and a villain, and these characters are always interlinked with each another. We also have some god fairy type characters to help hero in hard times, and they are full of secrets. Myths usually contain symbols, imageries, concept, cosmology, etc. They might be connected to some beliefs, rituals, or cultures. Myths help people to identify themselves and define their values. It helps validate social order and provide a moral code by which to live. In other words, myths tell us how a culture thought, lived, and expressed themselves. History can tell you facts about people, but myths show you their personality, their beliefs, fears, and hopes. Myths often explain natural phenomena, universal truths, and values using symbols. Myths uses the supernatural element to interpret natural events and to explain the basic question of human existence, such as nature of the universe and humanity. You can come through different versions of stories, and no one can declare any version wrong or right. To understand myths, one must look beyond the literal translation and focus on symbols and ideas and message and the moral of the story. Mostly myths are culture dependent, as we can see in Pakistan. The most common myth about Jheel Saif al Muluk, which is a lake and which was named after this prince Shehzada Saif al Muluk, who often came there to meet his beloved, but due to some tragedy he couldn't get her. So, fairy tales. Fairy tales are the types of stories which includes fantasy characters and we do not see them in real lives, such as fairies, mermaids, elves, witches, giants, monsters, etc. And now I'm going to discuss about elements of fairy tales. There's always an opening and ending line. Fairy tales are usually presented as happening a long time ago, which means there is no specific time or place included in fairy tales. They include the fairy tale ending, though all not fairy tales end happily, but most of them end happily, showing us like lived happily ever after. Fairy tales includes good and evil characters as hero and heroine and villain, which are totally obvious in the story. They contain magical elements, and there is a theme of problem and solution, which shows there is an explicit problem that eventually gets resolved by a hero or heroine with help of some god fairy character. And there is always an enchanted setting which shows that the story took place in a forest or an island, etc. Little Red Riding Hood by Charles Perrault. This is my most favorite version of Little Red Riding Hood because it teaches us, basically young ladies, that they should stay away from strangers and avoid sharing any kind of information with strangers and unknown, as they can take advantage of them. So, Jack and the Beanstalk. Jack and the Beanstalk. I like this non Little Red Riding Hood version a lot because it is a theme of trust and acceptance, and it shows that we should take advantage of opportunities that life provides us. Molly Whoopie. Molly Whoopie is my least favorite, though the story revolves around a very clever girl, but I found this story sometimes very unrealistic and impractical in some way. So, when I was assigned to write the version of Little Red Riding Hood, I was so excited to write it in my own way. But the most stimulating and motivating part was to picturize it in the Corona period, as it created tension and pressure in my selected characters. And by writing this story, I felt deep inside that yes, I can give it a thought. and write more stories, versions, and also stories. I am thankful to Ma'am Rabaha who brought this thought in me indirectly, and overall experience was so good to write it, as it was a time pass during this quarantine and I really liked that assignment. So, Little Red Riding Hood by Fiza Ishtiaq. I liked everyone's Little Red Riding Hood version, as everyone wrote it in a very creative way, and but mostly I liked Fiza's story, as it was colorful and full of symbols. For example, she used that magical ring in the story, which shows the magical element in the story, and this moral of the story shows that kindness is always rewarded. So this is it. It is the end of the video and this subject, and I never felt this kind of goodbye emotional feeling before any subject. I really enjoyed all the lessons, and yes, how can I forget 8 a.m. activities? They had to be there. So ma'am, I wish you happiness, love, and most of all safety. I just cannot wait more to go back to university to meet my teachers and friends. Yes, I miss them a lot. I pray this situation gets better soon, very soon, as I am totally fed up of this routine, and always there's a tension in my mind that when this situation will gets to end. So I hope this situation gets better very soon. So Allah Hafiz ma'am, fi aman Allah, and remember me in your prayers. Thank you so much.